Hello guys, my name is Noah Fitzgerald, and today I'm here to tell you guys about the 2024 Volvo V60 Recharge Polestar Engineer. Now that is a very long name for a pretty special vehicle. Now the V60 in Volvo's lineup has been their sort of mid-sized wagon, and I think that's something that's really cool to see still sold here in the United States. Just a few years back, Volvo had discontinued the V90 wagon, which was the full-size wagon. So the fact that we still get a V60 here in the United States is a very, very special thing. Now the Polestar Engineer part of that is Polestar is kind of a brand that split off from Volvo that makes performance vehicles. They more work into electric vehicles now, but they did make the Polestar 1, which was a pretty impressive vehicle, and Polestar Engineered in Volvo's lineup is a more sporty version of all of their cars. And I don't mean like the R design, which is just an appearance package. The Polestar Engineer does offer some performance upgrades, and it's really cool to see that here in Volvo's mid-size wagon, the V60. Powering this V60, the T8 Recharge version of it is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a hybrid motor in the rear that makes 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. Those are pretty astonishing numbers considering the pre-recharge versions were making 415 horsepower with the same 2-liter, but it was supercharged and turbocharged, and it really was a very busy engine. And with this new configuration, it works more well together. It really gives a sense that it's more of one fluid design. The older design seemed like it was many parts that were going together, which indeed it was, and it made the powertrain seem way too busy. Paired to that is an 8-speed automatic, which again is revised with this new Recharge powertrain, and it's also all-wheel drive, which gets you from 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, something that not many people can say in a mid-size wagon. And I think for that reason itself, this Volvo V60 Polestar Engineer is a very, very special vehicle. Now on the outside of this Volvo V60, you'll notice it is pretty standard fare styling for all Volvos in this modern age. It has the same design structure as the S60, which of course the sedan that this wagon, the V60, is based off of. At the front, you get the Thor's hammer headlights that of course have that signature shape that all Volvos are doing nowadays. It has full LED headlights with of course those LED DRLs and turn signals, and they look absolutely incredible. Now you also get Volvo's blacked out grille, of course, for the Polestar Engineered version. It looks really cool and kind of gives this a more sporty appeal than you may think, which is something that you don't really get or think of whenever you're buying a Volvo, but you do get it in this, and I think it's a really cool offering from this perspective. Now on the side, you notice that this, of course, is a wagon. It's not a sedan like the S60, and I think that's something really cool. Like I mentioned before, we don't get a lot of wagons in the United States nowadays, and it's really cool that Volvo is still putting an offering out onto the market. You know, you do get really cool Polestar-specific wheels they're pretty well designed. They're one of my favorite wheels on any automobile today. Now behind that are very, very cool looking gold painted brake calipers, and that's something that's a Polestar specific, and I think it's a really, really cool touch, and it's a color that many automakers don't do. The only color similar to that you may see is maybe on a Porsche with PCCBs, and I think it kind of mimics that, and to give that to a Volvo is kind of a really, really cool look. All of the exterior trim on this, of course, is blacked out to go with that more sporty appeal, and I think from a side perspective, this vehicle is one of the best looking in the segment. Of course, almost one of the best looking wagons, the very few that are still on the market. But overall vehicles today, I think the side profile on this is one of the better looking vehicles. Moving on to the back, you see Volvo's signature very vertical tail lights that of course are full LED brake lights, LED turn signals, and reverse lights. It's a very cohesive design, and I really like it. Volvo's been doing it a lot. They've done it for a long time with the XC90 and of course the V90 and in this V60. I think it's a very cool look, and I really like it. You do get a specific Polestar bumper. You do get specific black trim and the Volvo badge in the back. So I think that's a really cool design, and overall the exterior of this V60, I think Volvo knocked it out of the park. There are very few vehicles that can top the design of any Volvo nowadays, especially this V60. Moving on to the inside of the Volvo V60 Polestar, you start to see that it's a very, very comfortable and luxurious place to be. Like most Volvos, Volvo of course caters to make both people comfortable, get there in style, and get there looking really, really good, not just in the style of perfection, but in a luxurious, very well-crafted section. Now, whenever you first get in, you notice these really cool seats. Now, of course, for the Polestar engineered version, you can only get black interior, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think Volvo has done it very well, and there are very few performance wagons on the market that have a better interior. You look behind the steering wheel, which is of course standard fare Volvo, not much different there. Behind that is a new digital gauge cluster with new design language catered to that recharge trim. Moving to the side of that, you get a new Volvo infotainment. Instead of the old infotainment that was kind of slow to respond in a very Volvo setup, it was their own infotainment. They moved, just like GM did, to an Android-based system. So you have that Amazon Alexa capability, that Google Assistant capability, that really adds another echelon of usability to their cars. They noticed that the technology in their cars was getting a bit dated. It's been a while since these vehicles have been refreshed. And so they figured by adding this new infotainment, it might give drivers a new edge to want to buy a V60. And I think, I'm not sure for Volvo, I know for GM it has worked very well. I think the GM infotainment is one of the best on the market, and I'm curious to see how this Volvo version of it plays out. Being that Volvo normally does really good with technology, I think going with this Android system might be a very good thing for them. Now, of course, you do get on those same chairs I was talking about, they are heated and ventilated. I don't believe there are any massaging options for the V60, but they are heated and ventilated, and the rear seats are heated. So I think that's a really cool add-on for that. Of course, you get a panoramic sunroof in this. You do get a start-stop switch. It's not a button, it's a switch, which I think is a very different thing. I think it's cool to see that Volvo is doing something different than the other automakers. Moving in front of that, you see something very cool looking. You get a crystal shift lever, something you can't say you get in many cars, but in the Volvo, well, they'll give you one. Now, of course, you get the Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which I believe Volvos have some of the best sound systems of any vehicle of any price on the market today. I think they're right up there with the likes of Rolls-Royce and Bentley. I think they're some of the best sound systems on the market, and I think they're very, very hard to beat, these Bowers & Wilkins sound systems. And that is no different here in the V60. Now, maybe one of the most fun features of this Polestar engineered Volvo is the seat belts. Now, that's something you might not think are very cool, but in this car, they are gold. Golden seat belts, and I think that's really cool. There is no automaker that makes golden seat belts besides Volvo, and they're here in the V60, and I think that's probably the interior highlight of this car. Overall, I think the interior of the Volvo is one of the very best places to be of any car on the market. Volvo really, really knows how to do an interior for their price points of their vehicles, and that is no different here in this V60. Overall, I think the 2024 Volvo V60 T8 Recharge Polestar Engineer, such a long name for a vehicle, is one of the best new buys on the market, especially if you're planning on going on road trips. Volvos have some of the best driving technologies, some of the best safety technologies, like lane centering, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. It comes with the lot. And Volvo has perfected these, so it almost is like it drives itself on the highway. It's a very, very good car if you're planning on taking it on a road trip, especially with the extra cargo room of the V60 being a wagon. You can fit all your stuff in it, fit your family in it, be good on gas mileage because you have a 2-liter 4-cylinder hybrid, and it's just so comfortable. It's so premium, and if you really want to speed up and go through those corners, you're in a 455 horsepower, 523 pound-feet of torque vehicle. So it can really do a lot. I think it's one of the best cars to road trip in. And for the price, now this is where it might get a little bit shady, a base price of $71,000, but you have to remember, this is the most well-equipped V60 there is. You can get cheaper ones. You can get the all-road one. You can get the base model one that are still very well equipped. I just happen to like this model the most. So yes, this one may cost $71,000, but you can get them much, much cheaper, and you can also get them used. So I think the V60 is one of the best highway buys and one of the best buys in general on the market today. My name is Noah Fitzgerald. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.